everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is your host Tom Quee. I want to kick off, as I always do, by saying thank you. Please follow the show, and thank you for listening, by the way. Please follow the show at Battle Rap Resume on Twitter. Get in touch with us, battlerapresume@gmail.com. Please subscribe, please comment, please like, please share. We have a Patreon as well, patreon.com/Battle Rap Resume. All these links will be in the description on the, on the podcast or on the YouTube channel. Leave us a review on iTunes as well. Reviews help us kind of, get more eyes on us, help the algorithm, great for my ego. So please go onto the iTunes and leave a review there. We have a Redbubble shop as well if you want to get some Battle Rap Resume merchandise. But very excited to get into this episode. We're doing our, funniest Don't Flop battlers. And Pamflit, it had to be you on. It's great to have you back on, man.
Yo, can I just say, it's like you're concentrating too much on pond scum with the way you're obsessed with the algae rhythm.
Right. Wow, that is. We've started off well. I mean, I thought I came up with a bar years ago where I was thinking of like Al Gore's rhythms, like Al Gore River, but many people have said that, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, everything's been said. That's why I've always said I'd rather do a joke that's new than a bar that's old. But obviously, jokes are as difficult to come by as bars, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's nothing worse is that when you watch a battle and I've heard that, or
yeah.
It can just kind of, it can make you question why you're still a fan sometimes. But then that battler comes along, that battle, and it's all fresh. But I mean, it's been a while since we spoke. Actually, I believe it was like number 20 or so, our episode, maybe a little bit before that, so pretty much a year ago or so. And
yeah, I came quite early.
Yeah. Pause. And you've been battling a little bit since. Obviously, we had a little chat at April Fools and stuff like that. Have you been doing a little bit before that as well? Like, what's your career been like?
I think I'd done one that year. The one I was talking about on the actual podcast that we'd done in Nottingham, but that was a bit of a disaster, to be honest. I didn't go on until like 2 a.m.
Right.
By that time, I was done in. I'd been working the day before, and I had to go straight from the battle to work, believe it or not. I travelled overnight back to Newcastle and then straight into work. But that kind of reiterated to me that it's nothing that I can do anymore. Do you know what I mean? So I've had a big break, and I was coming to London anyway, and decided to jump on the April Fools because I've got quite a history with that event in particular. So
And of course I should say we're here to go through our our top 10 personal. We're going to go through each of our lists of our top 10 funniest Don't Flop battlers, compare the list, kind of go through and see the similarities we have, and just kind of dissect these battles comedically. But before we get into that, just a broad question to start off: is Don't Flop the funniest battle rap league in history?
I think that'd be difficult to say. I think we've got a lot of funny people, but I think my sense of humour is more accommodated to the English style anyway. There's a vast contrast between England and America in terms of humour, and even Canada.
Yeah.
So to compare funniest would be almost impossible because it's a subjective thing.
I appreciate that, but I think, obviously URL has its kind of stipulations, its cliches. There's some hilarious URL battlers, no question, but arguably the comedy's a bit more of a forefront in Don't Flop than other leagues.
I mean, unfortunately, I think that the style in England is going towards more the URL style, and yep. I think people are more keen to, as I said earlier, I'd rather come up with a joke that no one's heard of, or a twist on a joke no one's heard of, than a bar that people have heard of before. And that's why, when you asked me my top 10, my brain instantly went back to when I used to be live watching battles, because you weren't laughing at the perfect setup or the perfect delivery or the perfect punchline. You were laughing at the way the guy delivered it, and the person who was delivering it was a funny person. So the more technical it's got and the more we've followed, and I'm a huge campaigner for, keeping the tradition of where battle raps come from intact, and I think it's sort of being broken down at the moment, and dominated by a style that isn't necessarily unique by everyone that's performing it. There's a few people that are really leading the way, and I think if there was more comedy heads out there doing this battle rap thing, it would be a lot more entertaining. I think there was a lot of funny characters in the grind time era. I really do, and I'd love to do a show with you about the top 10 grind time battles, or the top 10 sort of hidden away gems in the grind time league, because guys like A-Class, when A-Class was battling Illegal, he said something about he was Asian or something. Or someone Illegal said, sorry, to A-Class, you're Asian, you eat cats. something I can't remember, like lions eat humans, or there was something, and then he ended it with Circle of Life, and it was such a perfect bar, and I buzzed. Or when ATM said to Thousand, it's not fair, that's Spots giving or whispering lines into that ear or something like that, and it was like this guy had a spot on his sort of cheek, and it was like freestyle, and it was brilliant. Again, ATM saying against Star Eater, he was running out of freestyle lines to use, and Star Eater had an Ultimate Warrior t-shirt on, and ATM called him gay and said, "Look, the ultimate truth." And the shocked way that he delivered that, it was just, that was where the comedy came from, not the technical line or the funny line or the Ricky Gervais. I've worked on this for 8 weeks, this one particular punchline, and we're going to deliver it with the eyes facing the correct camera. It was just a rawness, a funniness. It's a funny delivery as opposed to a funny joke. Yeah,
you're right, actually, because, so much of kind of when battle rap events go down now, they're tweeted out. People do these update threads on Facebook. A Dub Scandal event just happened today. I was following the thread, and, certain bars you read, and, I like that. That's good. That's a good punch. But you can't capture that essence, can you, with the comedy? Exactly. And I think the cookie clutter nature, I do agree. There are more, there's definitely more of a personality to that's so important. And just before we get into, obviously, this is an episode completely focused on Don't Flop, but it was interesting to hear you then go on against Grind Time. I mean, Grind Time, King of the Dot, whatever. Who are some other just really funny battlers that you like internationally?
I mean, my love of sort of battle rap really grew when Grind Time was around, because you did have, I was watching week to week when the Disaster versus Surgeon General battles were coming out, and Surgeon General would say to Disaster, "You and Immaculate battling look like Bert and Ernie arguing," and instantly in your head you're comparing Disaster to Bert, or the one with the long hair, the long face, the banana, and Immaculate to the orange, and it's like you've got that visual straight away. And Surgeon General delivered it in a way where it's like, these rounds aren't perfect. I've got these punchlines. I've just done 4 whack freestyles, 1 good freestyle, brought the crowd level up, then dropped this little written that I had. And due to you following him in his stumbling delivery and then being brought up, really affects your mood. It's like, ha 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 ha. Oh, that was really good. Do you know what I mean? It's about the journey with that battler, and how he's almost plodding his way through this round and just pulls out a nugget. And that's why I've picked Els. There's a few people in my top 10 that are there solely on their plodding delivery and their inconsistency, but the way that they are not crap with it. Do you know what I mean? If you can not be crap but still being consistent, then you're doing something right, in my opinion. And that's why I always tried to be consistent, because I didn't have that natural oh shit, I'm fucking up, Lars. I was doing an impression of him and I still couldn't do that naturally. I had to have him prompt me, but...
Yeah. Well, let's get into your top 10. Number 10 for you, Pamflit, funniest Don't Flop battlers.
I mean, we sort of agreed beforehand that we weren't going to necessarily do it in top 10, and then... No, but minutes before we did, and I can give you my top 10 of the list that we've got.
Sure.
In some kind of order, basically.
Yeah, I mean, in a kind of comedic Don't Flop way, it's going to be ramshackle, but, what have you got?
Right, so looking at the list, I'd say Ogmios was the 10th funniest battle rapper.
So I teach sports and chess and maths, anything. I enable young minds to think and win. You work for a credit card machine leasing company, enabling us to chip and pin. You and your father both work in finance, hoarding your loot. Wow. I'm the karma of your life plans. I come to haunt this Scrooge. See, my first round was your past, the second your present. Next I'm dealing with your future. Shit keeps getting more depressing. Cause I'm the ghost of Jacob Marley, talking to Nathan Barley. Wow. Hey. Yes.
Because he's more of a thinker, so that takes away from his funniness, but he still makes me laugh in ways that other people can't. My research for this was to try, I've got a busy schedule, but it was to try and watch at least one battle of each performer so I could get a couple of lines. And the one I picked for Ogmios was his recent one versus Harry Baker. The grime round just completely ripped it for me. That's the first time in probably a year that I've actually sat down and showed my wife that a battle, or a round in particular, because it was so perfect. And it was one of those ones where he was doing he's not a grime MC, but he was doing a grime round, and he had to reload it 4 times in a row because each time he progressed in that bar, he was getting a laugh and having to reload it, and starting at the building a boat bit. Yeah, and when that hits, every time that recycles and that hits again due to a rewind caused by a later hot bar, the crowd was getting more and more into it. So by the 4th time he delivered it, the whole crowd was making a boat. It was perfect for me, and it was what grime is about. And Ogmios isn't a grime rapper, so for him to have been able to capture that spirit, I really admire as a comedian, because it's funny more than it's clever, because he's I don't think Harry Baker's dad is in the kitchen making a boat, or whatever the suggestion was.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've got Og on my list. Og is actually 4th on my list.
Right.
I for me, it is multifaceted approach. It is the way he can be quite absurdist. I'm thinking against orcs, through your CD app window, decapitated a falcon, only time you got a head off a bird, quite silly kind of stuff there. And then don't mecha me do it as well. This kind of element he has against his major. He has that very cerebral element as well, against QP with the sort of triple entendre stuff. He can kind of draw things out to, almost painful levels, but they're still really kind of captivating. And it is that, it's not buddy comedy. There's not a ladness. There's no banter with Ogmios.
He doesn't rely on... I mean, he does rely on something, but it's completely different to what 98% of other battle rappers rely on, which is a calmness.
Yes. It's a zen comedy, but it's still very, very funny. I mean, obviously, you could put Ogmios on, best writers ever as well, let alone the comedy. It's just mad that he has that aspect to him.
That's why his 10th. Sorry, that's why his 10th for me is because he has so much else to his arsenal that other people rely more on comedy, and that's why they're higher in this comedy list. But
and obviously, biggest respect to Ogmios. I don't mean this in a kind of a nasty way, but there's something quite comedic just about him as well. Just visually, it's quite
that's
funny.
What I mean.
Yeah.
Being funny doesn't work unless you're a funny person, and you need something about you to be funny. And Ogmios has it in spades. Do you know what? For me, the best thing is when a rapper smirks at their own line, and we'll get onto that later with Lefty, because that's what he's in the top 10 in my top 10 for. Is his ability to find his own stuff funny, and I'm laughing about it now.
So we'll move on then. Number 9.
So sorry, who did you have as number 10?
My number 10 is let's go through our sort of
and then we can sort of mark them scores basically. So each of our number 10s gets 1 point, each of our number 9s gets 2 points, and we can work out who the overall top 10 is.
Yeah. You were saying this is a common wrestling podcast thing.
I mean, they do Place to Be Nation, which is more based on sort of facts and opinion, but they do these top 10 or tops. They rank every single WrestleMania match, say.
Right.
So, and that will be sort of over, say, 4 or 5 1-hour podcasts, and there'll literally be 3-4 people in a Skype session. Going through the list backwards and forwards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, your top 10. If your first person's number 10 is the third person's number 2, then the third person doesn't need to talk about his guy in the number 2 spot, other than reiterate a few. So it works with that. And then once everyone's been counted, the scores are up, and that's the top 10. That's who they decide to.
It's just at the end of the day, battle rap and wrestling, they're always compared, and I appreciate, but they seem to kind of mold together so well. My number 10, Calcium Kid.
Right, you can catch me, Bud and a Jeffrey, watching Basil the Great Mouse Detective. Fuck a woolly back, motherfucker, I eat scouts for breakfast.
Third round, isn't it? Second 1 minute round.
You need help, psychological, not medical. Think your dad cock's edible because he dipped it in the Lurpak spreadable.
Which I appreciate. Some people maybe shock horror listening, that I put him so high. He's someone that I am a huge fan of. He's someone that I'm not massively familiar with, even though I am a big fan of him. I haven't seen too many of his battles, to be honest with you. I have huge respect for the imagination this guy has. And he's really sort of cultivated that style, that sort of, abject sort of left-leaning sort of thing that can come out of nowhere, and I Spy, eyes closed, stuff like that, just throwing these kind of quite a one-liner kind of aesthetic to Calcium Kid that I really like.
Yeah, my list is sort of based on people who I've been in the room watching live in their sort of second, third, fourth battle, and I've pissed myself. And I've been watching a few Calcium Kid battles today, and I can hear myself laugh at bars that I find funny in the background. So, but I didn't write it down. But one of his best, in my opinion, stuff like the I can't remember what it was. I something like a palm your nan out of her. Summon the aggression of Banana Man and palm your nan out of pajama pants and stuff like that. The slick multis, he's very good with multis. You can't talk about multi-syllabic punchline comedic rappers without talking about Calcium Kid. That's what his entire arsenal is based on. But Calcium Kid made me want to, and in fact I'll put him at my number 9 just so that we can have this same conversation. Okay. He was the guy that made me want to be a battle rapper. I mean, I'm sure a couple of guys are the Saurus. There's a couple of heavy influences there, but he was the first time that I saw someone who I was like, I've not been watching you for the last 6 months, a year on Don't Flop, and all of a sudden you've turned up at this event with bars and you've performed them and made people laugh, and I was like, I can do that. Do you know what I mean? So he was the bridge between the original Don't Flop heads and sort of the new wave of funny guys that came in just after that initial run in Don't Flop. I think I think it got funnier as time went on.
And of course, you guys battled.
Because I wanted my battle rap resume to consist of the funniest people in Don't Flop. Yeah. And I think I said to you the other day, maybe not you, but someone else, that I wanted to add Jay Dillon to that because I find him
No, that'd be a great matchup, definitely, for certain as well. But so number 9, what is number 9 for you?
So as I say, I'm going to go with Calcium for number 9.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, yeah.
Purely on the basis that he doesn't battle enough anymore, and it's kind of like he's concentrated. He comes out with really funny battles every once in a while. I'd love to see more of him. His battle versus O'Shea just took me back to when I used to find battles really, really amusing. So
number 9 is Luna. I mean, what?
When your mum saw my youthful charm and boyish good looks, she was frothing at the gash. I like fucking her from behind because there's something I can grab, because most Spanish bitches have hair on the bottom of their back. This spastic cries when he masturbates because getting pussy is such a stressful effort. You should clone another you so you can pull yourself together. Whoever said chivalry died, it was a lie. I listened to Michael Bublé sipping some wine, put rose petals on the stairs and dimming the lights, and then speak fuck your nan within an inch of her life.
To say about Luna, obviously, he's like on camera, I think he's gotten the most laughs I've seen probably of any battler in terms of like ferocity of the audience laughing. Like I've never seen someone conjure. He has quite a sort of school ground style that works very, very well, very quotable. But again, what you're saying, and I think this is something we're going to come back to time and time again, it is, it's Jake. It's who this guy is in of himself, and the way he delivers these lines, that slightly snarky kind of classroom element to lunacy. I find it quite irresistible, and most people's probably some of their most watched battles are Lunacy's battles, and they've aged very well. Like the punches still hit.
Is in that for me. I don't think Lunacy or O'Shea have made me laugh as much as Els and Zane have, but I think. And I heard Def talk about that recently, and I really reflect that opinion that you have to be there in the room and really appreciate what it is they do. But I think guys like O'Shea and Luna have done so much for battle rap that I think they have to be higher for me. I've got Luna a bit higher.
Yep.
I'll let you know when I get to him. Obviously, we don't need to discuss him again, but I think he has transcended battle rap in a way that no one else has really been able to do. Consistently.
In what sense?
Well, like you look at, I mean, obviously you've got your Rizzles. I mean, Rag and Bone Man had a battle, so those guys have made it. They've really made it. But if you're talking someone who's still got a buzz about them today and who still could command the top bill in an English environment, you'd have to talk about Shotty Horror, and you have to talk about Lunacy. Shotty Horror in the bar sense and Lunacy in the battle sense. So they have to be at the forefront. They are at the forefront of British battle rap. I think you don't get higher than Luna and Shotty in terms of British battle rap.
Yeah.
Would you say that? I think Tony's a very close third, but
Yeah. I think the kind of the Connor Floyd match of battle rap is Shotty Luna. There's nothing really else there. Obviously, we've had Shotty Tony, but even if that hadn't happened, I think obviously Shotty Luna's a lot better. And Shotty Luna's became this meme now that everyone comments. But I did an episode a while back with Ben Page, and we were talking about matches we want to see. I put Shotty Luna on there because it's quite a fascinating style clash.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you'd put them on there. They'd be the main event for the single reason that they are the two best.
Yep.
And they're in different titles. So that's why you can almost sort of say, best English footballers, and then sort of talk about Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, and then talk about Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, or even sort of older than that. But you can talk about sort of people that are providing something different but still maintain their position at the top after all these years. People have come and people haven't been able to achieve what they've done in their chosen fields, one being bars, one being comedy. So for me, Luna will be a bit higher, but I haven't reached him just yet.
Yeah. So number 8 for you.
Right, so let's have a quick look through this. I mean, I think I'm getting into Pedro territory, but let me just have a quick. I've got this list here. So we've got so I'm going to go L's next.
L's, okay, yeah.
You got two choices: act like you're stubborn and full of pride, and your son watches his mother die, or you can pay me 105 grand, then I'm gone. Then I'm gone faster than Buster Rhymes spitting double time. Why does your sister's arse smell like fish and carp? In fact, why are you here spitting bars? You should be over the road at the chip shop frying Snickers bars.
Talk to me about Els, because he's one that a lot of people might not be too familiar with. I actually watched a few of his battles because we were going into this. One of the ones that I watched was the Zayn battle. Also watched the Mixie battle as well. And I do love this guy. I think his presence is quite unique.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the recent impression battles I was doing, I was showing Rachel a few different battle rappers and doing impressions of them in the hope that I might be able to find some kind of inspiration in that way. And one of the battles I put on was Zayn versus Els. Because Def had just said on the podcast I listened to that day from you that he enjoyed that battle particularly. And I could see myself in the background going, woo, 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 because I loved it so much. It was brilliant, yeah. So I can't remember too much about that battle. I think Els underperformed slightly in terms of he didn't have any huge bars, but it really is with Els, they are huge bars, and that's why he's on my top 10. He had something versus... so the first time I saw him, maybe the second time, it would have been the first time I saw him was when I did the tournament with Chronicle in Manchester to the Test 2. Right. And he battled Briggsy. I don't know if you've seen that one, but it is an absolute classic. There was a moment where he explains in one of his rounds that he's had a hard week and he hasn't been able to write and stuff like that. Briggs is wearing a t-shirt. He says Misfit Music Briggs. It should say Midget Briggsy fucking faggot. Right. Looks like a piglet. And the look on his face when he says it is so funny, honestly. It's exactly what you want from entertainment. It's absurd. And it's presented in a perfect manner, and he also has this bit where I don't know if it's Briggsy or he was originally supposed to battle Raptor. I saw in the intro. Briggsy absolutely smashes that battle. By the way, I remember that I really got an impression of Briggsy before sort of Shotty had come out as someone who was just ridiculous. His bars were brilliant. His performance was amazing. Probably the best. Do you know? It's probably the best Briggsy battle I've ever seen. Right. Okay. And it was his first one, and I saw it live. But Els had this line. It was like something like maybe it was like I don't know this for sure, but it was definitely on the lines of Raptor was supposed to. I was supposed to battle Raptor, but he said he couldn't make it. I've just seen him at the fucking door, or something like that. Right, and it was the way everyone in the crowd was like, "Oh shit!" Do you know what I mean? He's just cancelled the battle, and yet he's here in person. So it's like, and that was obviously 4 or 5 years before the quill thing had happened, so it was a unique thing for Els to have pointed out that someone had pulled out from a battle and still turned up. And it might not have been Raptor, so I apologise if it was. It might have been Briggsy, but that the look on Els' face when he says stuff. I remember I went in the toilet and Els was there, and I was just like, "Oh, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life." Big up. So here's my 8.
Yeah, good pick. And I appreciate you putting him on there. He's not actually on my top 10, but I did watch a few battles, they say, against Mixie, which I believe was at Distinction. Was it at Distinction? No, did Mixie battle Briggsy at Distinction? It might be at To The Test 10, actually, which is the same venue. Right. I think it is To The Test 10. And yeah, he says against Mixie, I rep Don't Flop right, you rep it wrong. You're about as much use as a lesbian without fingers or a tongue. And it's just... And it kind of, that sort of disdain that he delivers, that stink that he kind of...
I can imagine that he delivered it like without a finger or a tongue. Like, it's the pausing. It's almost like he's struggling for words consistently. He always manages to find them.
And so Els is your 8. Number 8 for me is Pedro.
I make your girlfriend play with my brass instrument. You're firing blanks like you are impotent. I be killing hostages like that France incident. It's mum joke time. Your mum's got a tattoo of the Umbro sign. She be in the baby's toilet sniffing.
A lot of kind of what you laugh at Pedro for, it's kind of a mixture of, exasperation, being impressed by the guy, where he goes with the Maltese. He seems to just think in Maltese sometimes and goes these places. But, also has some like really, really funny lines, uses a nipple as a spliff pokey and stuff like that. Obviously the Umbro sign, Heart of Stone like a garden gnome.
Yeah, he's used that 3 times.
Has he?
Big up Pedro. I think so. I think he used it against me, but big up Pedro. I still, if ever I hear the term garden gnome, that Heart of Stone like a garden gnome comes in, and it's one of the most relevant multis you'll ever get. So
it's amazing. It's amazing. And I mean, so obviously you've known Pedro from the Jump, really, and he kind of had this renaissance, maybe late 2014, kind of after he battled Peace Soldier, really, I think is where we pinpointed it, and then he wanted to battle like O'Shea and Dots and stuff. But talk to me about Pedro early on in Don't Flop. Was he always conceived as this hilarious guy, or...?
Right, so Pedro come to my debut battle for Don't Flop against Hazard. Pedro come to me after I battled him and was like, "Yo, I want to battle," and I didn't even know that was Pedro till a few years later. He was like, "I come to you straight after you battled," and was like, "Yo, I want to battle. How do I get into it?" So when's this episode going to come out? How long are we looking at?
Maybe like 2-3 weeks, something like that.
I mean, can we push it back a bit further?
We certainly can.
Right, so I've got a bit of an exclusive here for Battle Rap Resume. I don't know if you want to release it sort of a day or two before the actual event, but I got married recently.
Yep.
On Don't Tell the Bride. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, you were on Don't Tell the Bride.
Yes.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, so my episode's going to be on E4 on August the 9th at 9 p.m. However, it's supposed to be, we signed contracts, big contracts to say that we're not going to reveal it before, so... the sort of the day before, I reckon you'll be able to drop this episode, and cool. So I got married on Don't Tell the Bride. Madness. But part of the whole experience, I kind of revisited my battles just to sort of scan through them and sort of revisit my career. And I laughed at Pedro more than I laughed at anything else. We did a 2-on-2 in Manchester, me and Pedro. And versus E Villa and High Def, and we had about an hour. We arrived in Manchester. Me and my mate had been travelling all morning. Arrived in Manchester, a whole litre of Captain Morgan's later, and smashed. And we agreed to this battle last minute because like X amount of people hadn't turned up to the event. So me and Pedro were like, we'll do this freestyle 2-on-2. So we did it. We had I've come up with a couple of bars for each round. So we did it. And in the third verse, Pedro spat this grime freestyle that I heard him spit at Jump Off. And as I say, big up Pedro. He's got a couple of bars on lock. And when he's like struggling for a bar, which we all do, he pulls out one of these. It was like, think that's bad to the worst to come. you'll get smacked when I'm serving your mum. Something in front of her eyes, I'll be serving her son, and the whole crowd went mental. And I had a hot like bar to finish the round with, and I was going, shut up, shut up. I was actively telling the crowd to shut up because I wanted to spit my last bar in the third round of a freestyle battle that we come up with like an hour before. And they wouldn't let me spit because they were cheering so hard, and I was dancing. But Pedro's hype alone brought up that crowd to the point where they wouldn't even let me spit my bars. It was mental. It was brilliant.
Yeah. And I think the hype's another element to it. How excited and driven he gets through his bars, through intoxicants or just sheer wordplay joy. Who knows? But it is a beautiful thing to behold. And It's kind of interesting with Pedro, isn't it? Where he's literally been doing the same thing, and it took years for us to catch up.
Exactly, and that's what it is. The people on these lists are trailblazers. They're not following the formula, and that's what comedy is. You can't laugh at something you've heard before. I mean, you can if it's presented in a new way, but then you've not heard it before. You can't repeat. Do you know what I mean? And he is a unique character, a person. I'm glad that he's still doing it. I hope to see him at an event soon because he's one of the remaining relics of that classic era in Don't Flop.
Yeah, that's true. He has, kept going throughout it all, and he's not as beloved. It's not like he's done anything wrong, but it's just kind of the wave has slightly gone down on the Pedro boat. It's kind of not. But I mean, again, it's boom and bust with a lot of battle rap sort of stuff. So there's no reason.
And he's still going with it as well.
Yeah.
He's not like oh, I'm going to try something else. He's still Pedro. He's still on Facebook smoking weed out of balconies in Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? He's still travelling around the country battle rapping on no money.
Yeah,
living that life.
yeah, with no train tickets, just living on a prayer. So Pedro and Els are on number 8. Number 7 for you.
Right, sorry, I'm just wandering around the house, sort of drinking, putting drinks down, and then looking for drinks. So we are going. So I mean, I'd have to say Pedro was my number 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think we are.
Following similar paths. Yeah.
Inevitably going to have some crossover here. So number 7 for myself. Someone that doesn't battle regularly, really. I believe his last battle was Sunburn 2, so it's been a little while now. But purely for the, I want to say character in habits, but I get a feeling it is the guy. But it's more the construction of his bars. It's got to be Wizard. For me, I marvel at the sort of satire that he puts forth here. Obviously, the Ogmios battle is fantastic. The 2-on-2s that he's done as well. He really, I love what he projects, you know what I mean? And kind of again, the laughter that he gets from a crowd. People just adore what Wizard can do.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's not in my top 10. He should be, but I don't think he didn't just make it. I'd put him at number 11. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, brilliant. He's the guy that can book next week for Brighton event, and he'll have the best battle on the cards, and he'll hardly try. And that's again. I keep saying it. That's where the best comedy comes from. Hardly trying. Refresh, gun bar, funny.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his verse tracker now, actually, and even back in the day, he didn't battle much. He had he's kind of had 2-on-2s that he kicked off with. Then he battled
a tournament, I think.
Yeah, it was part of the tournament, and then he battled Stowaway and Sizz, and then Joker Star, which was 2 years later. Then there was more 2-on-2s, more 2-on-2s. So yeah, he's only done 2 solo battles in the last 4 years for Don't Flop, which is kind of testament to that quality coming out here. But Wizard, obviously fantastic, great guy. Number 6, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of it now, the high rankings. Number 6 for you.
Oh, so, I mean, this is where Zayn Azra is going to have to come into play.
I will have your girl cut to fine chops and have her ribcage and legs in her mother's pie shop and have brain and a piece of ass on her bed like how I fucked her in her other night job. Wait, listen.
I actually interviewed him at the 8th birthday pre-party. Definitely the funniest interview I've done. Still waiting for that to come out. But that was great. I mean, he is, a prospect like no other, really.
Yeah. One of the pieces of advice I rehashed to young battle rappers when they asked me, inbox me, which happens rarely these days, but they asked me what they can do to improve or how they can get on Don't Flop. And I heard a comedian say, I might have said it on this last podcast I've done with you, but he said, it's not about what you put in, it's about what you leave out. And for Zayn, it's not about the words he says, it's about the words he doesn't say. It's the pauses in between his bars that do it for me, because do you know what? And Frosty Jack in King of the Runnels is similar for me in the regards that he says his bar and then he thinks, oh no, I didn't mean to say that, and then he says no, and then he thinks about what it was he was supposed to say, and it's that period of time between him saying no and him saying what it is he actually wanted to say that makes me laugh, because it's like, if you're going out with these bars that obviously Zayn crafts his bars, you can't deny that Zayn Azrai has some intelligent stuff. But for whatever reason, he's not able to remember it so that it comes across as fluid when he performs. And it's that reason that I find it so funny. It's like, these are hot bars, you've clearly been practicing them, yet there's some kind of disconnect, like when the performance comes out, and I find that hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I always remember against Respect BA, he's like talking about his grandmother. Since the year 1669, she's done 1669.
Do you know what? You just saying about his grandmother, I knew there'd be some kind of funny thing after. And that's what made me laugh. That I laughed at the idea that I knew that I was going to laugh. That's funny. Yeah.
And we always get Diana bars, and I think it's something like talking about his girl being Diana, like your dick drops dead when it goes through the tunnel or some shit like that.
It's the combination of like confusion and anger as well. It's like all of a sudden he'll be like, oh shit, I'm battle rapping on stage, I need to look like I mean something, and go and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But big up Frosty Jack from King of the Runnels in the same regard. I mean, they both make me laugh like in a different way, like a belly chuckle. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, kind of probably his most famous performance is the Grist performance, which got a lot of hate, a lot of dislikes. But I remember going through it with Grist, and we were cracking up at the bars. Like they're quite violent and vicious, but there is a creativity there.
Definitely, he knows he's got the fundamentals down pat, and obviously, it's he cares about battle rap and he wants to be a part of the scene, and he deserves to be a part of the scene. But it's just that inability to perform it in a way that is definitive that makes it funny. Because if he was a slightly more aggressive character and a slightly more fluent character, he would be considered as a Bleak style, could be the main event if sort of none of the main eventers were there. Do you know what I mean? He has the tools, but there's something not quite clicking there. And but because he has the tools, something's not quite clicking there, but to an extent where it's funny.
Yeah,
that's why Zayn Azrai is my number 6.
Yes, number 6. And just before we get onto my own number 6, of course, you and Zayn teamed up, right? Against Villain and Prince Kong. Talk us about that.
Mate, if I told you about that evening, then, I would probably if I sat down in a police cell and told that about that evening to the police, then there'd be a few people arrested. It was crazy. Everyone was out of control that night, but it started off quite amicably around ZT's house. And yeah, so I can't remember the freestyle battle. Do you know what I mean? Literally, ZT or it might have been even was like, look, we're having this party for ZT's birthday. If you want to come down, come down. So I came down. He paid for my megabus, I think. Or it might have been ZT even, just like come down. Do you know what I mean? Sure. Which was good of him. I mean, do you know what? I had a bar against ZT like if you laughed at every one of my jokes when you're at a gig, you'd owe me more than a portion of a couple of tabs and a portion of chips, or something like that. Because he sorted me out. If I was at an event and I had no money, ZT was the guy that bought me the chips that give me a fag. So big up to ZT every time.
I've not watched this battle. I'm gonna watch it as soon as we end this episode. But
there's nothing to watch.
Yeah, I've just clicked on the comments. The top comment is Zayn confirmed #1 of all time, which has loads of people liking it as well. Apparently, this is just in the comments as well. Mickey Worthless was like chatting loads of shit in the background.
Was Mickey Worthless there?
Apparently, I haven't seen the battle. It says Mickey Worthless has no place calling anybody else's shit whack, and someone else says he's being a faggot in the background stand. I mean, obviously, much love to Mickey.
Do you know what, right? Do you know what? My memories of that whole entire night of going around Brighton with the Don't Flop crew, out of everything that happened that night, I can't remember Mickey Worthless being there. And if that is the case, then that is the most unique scenario that God has ever created, because there is never an occasion where Mickey Worthless is on a night out and gets overshadowed by anyone. So
no, that's very true. That's very true. And getting into my own number 6 now, one of the main men involved. Always found this guy funny. Always impressed by him. It's Kruger.
Yo, you look different. Did you get a haircut? No, you're bald. You've always looked like that. Did you lose some weight? No, you've always been quite fat. I mean, oh, that's right. You ain't got a pint in your right hand. Hey, just for the record, Innuendo's holding it. Because every battle I've seen you in, you're holding a pint. I mean, check Don't Flop nor Free. You even host with a pint. Yo, you take showers and go to bed with a pint, even while taking a dump. You can find him holding a pint on his way to the pub. You can find him holding a pint in any photo he's been in. This scout's put the AA into AA meetings. Yo.
Yes, much higher for me.
Yeah. I mean, had to add him in. He's kind of necessary, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When I'm writing bars, I have a few go-to guys. If I want to be aggressive and sarcastic, I'll look at Pat Stay and I'll watch a Pat Stay battle and I'll be like, how can I replicate what he's doing? Because I enjoy what he's doing and I want people to enjoy what I'm doing. If I want to be witty and biting, I'll go into my Kruger zone. Right. And I'll feel like I'm writing a Kruger bar, and I've done that before. I was watching. I mean, as I say, I've been watching my battles back more than ever recently, just to sort of. I mean, every few years, it's fun to have a gander back at what it is I was doing, and I said to Soul something like, I can't remember something. You're so small. You don't sleep in a bag. You sleep in the one that comes with it to keep it packed, or something like that. And I followed it with this geezer's a wanker. You're so skinny and weak. You literally sleep in lasagna under a sheet of the pasta. It's those rolling relevant multis. You sleep in lasagna under a sheet of the pasta. It's like 1, 2, 1, 2, and it all makes sense. And Kruger knows exactly how to do that. And he was the first guy, in my opinion, in England that really bought. He's the true creator, in my opinion, of the style that Shuffle T and Marlowe are making so much, so much out of now. Biting, funny, witty, dry, droll.
Yeah. Really kind of like, why didn't I think of that sort of thing? Like, you know, when against DNA, you had a spelling error, and, against O'Shea, which is like one of my favourite Don't Flop battles ever, that early battle against O'Shea. I don't know if you remember his first round, which is pretty much a concept round about how O'Shea always has a pint. And it just sort of goes through about him hosting with a pint, on the way to the pub, he's got the pint. Yeah. And then it's him doing like a bank robbery with a pint and shit like that. Yeah. Like, it's just, like really, really well executed stuff. And just a kind of endless imagination that kind of revels in the power of a punch and just saying something quite simply that can really, really hit with the crowd.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and the conceited battle, I think, is hilarious as well. He has tons of good stuff in there. Like, I mean, such a really unique. What a character as well, and kind of slightly, just kind of detached almost. Yeah. Kind of a wry observer.
O'Shea, me and O'Shea stayed in the same hotel at that last London event, and he said to me, "I'm trying to come up with some kind of madness bar for Madness, Madness the band." And I said, Kruger said something about madness because you wear baggy trousers or something, and O'Shea just looked at me and said, "Yeah, I'm not going to top that, am I?" And do you know what I mean? Kruger perfected that punchline, and you're not going to top it, so why try? And also, one of my first memories of Kruger was being absolutely in awe of him as a person and a battle rapper, from what I knew, and being at an event, I think it was To The Test 3 this time, when I battled K-Snatch, and he came up to me and my mate who'd driven me up there and said in a very hushed tone, "Does anyone want to buy my CD?" And I said, "No, man, we haven't got any money, but I think you're sick. I think you're amazing." And he kind of said, "Safe then," and kind of walked off. No, he even said to me, like, I'm just trying to sell my CD. And it was like, how are you so good and yet so humble and unopposing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember on his Lazy EP, there's a line of that. I can't remember what song it is, but he says, like, outside of the gig with an unconfident pitch, buy my CD, Bazaar's on it. So there is that element, definitely. But yeah, Kruger, obviously everyone adores this guy. He is incredible. But midway point now, number 5 for you.
Can I just say, before we go on any further, right, that I feel genuinely blessed to be in a position where I can talk about these scenarios in a manner where I've actually got the experience of being there at the time. And also listening back to your episodes of Guy's recollections of evenings and having my own memories of the scenarios. I mean, I was shocked when I heard the Respect BA story about him being on a balcony when that woman fell. And I had but I had my own battle rap story from that night.
Right, please.
So I had a friend who was pissing about on a balcony and fell through a shed. Jeez. That night, and remember hearing about the woman falling off the balcony sort of the next day in the Metro newspaper, and not realising Respect BA experienced that, and even saying that's right, and they experienced that. So it's just, I feel honoured as a battle rap fan to be able to sort of talk about these events with experience.
I feel honoured to have you on, man. The fact that you've been for all these things, and it is great to have that kind of specialist insight. But number 5 for you, Pam.
Yeah, sorry, and also an add-on from that. If anyone is interested in battle rap, come to a battle rap event, because you will experience with the guys these things. This is what it's about. That's why you pay your £15 to come and watch an event, is to be a part of it, and that's so important at the moment, especially. And I think we've lost the YouTube revenue. I don't know if you know about the ins and outs of the YouTube revenue in terms of advertisement, but I know the wrestling podcasts on YouTube have suffered a huge dip in advertising.
Yeah. I mean, personally, obviously, Battle Rap Resume gets very, very low monetization anyway. But it's colloquially known as the adpocalypse. And it's slowly growing back, but I myself, I'm sure Don't Flop have had it as well. Probably in the last 2 months, 70% cut. Really, I don't quite know why. So
listen to this mathematics here. Obviously, the reason the money's been cut is because advertisers like Hyundai haven't wanted their brand new 70, 80, 100,000 pound car being advertised on a battle rap video. So imagine taking that revenue and all of a sudden cutting, I don't know how much they get, but let's just say they earn £1,000 a month. Cutting that out, maybe that's the reason why everything's flared up all of a sudden. Just saying. But so I'd say, am I on 5 now?
We're on 5 now, yeah.
So let me just go through who I've got. So I've got him. Have I said Pedro yet?
Yes.
Have I?
Have you actually? Yes, no. Pedro,
no, Calcium.
Pedro was your 7th.
Yes, Calcium's my 5, so we don't need to discuss him any further.
Right.
Cool, so you're 5?
Yeah, I think Calcium was your 9th, actually.
Right.
I've been trying to mark
so
far. You said Ogmios, Calcium, Els, Pedro, Zane.
So I'm on 5
now,
and those are gone. Right. Let me just see where I am. So Zane. So I've got him. So have I said Pedro yet?
Yes. Pedro was said number 7.
1, 2, 5. Lefty.
Lefty.
Fuck this little Nazi coward. This morning. Fuck this little Nazi coward. This morning he only party showered. I'll make his world end like when his ex-girlfriend left his heart devoured. Listen, he looks like fucking Justin Bieber on ketamine. Let's give him time to settle in. He walks up to gay clubs and they just let him in. No questions asked, they just let him pass. He's been studying dick, so they're quick to test his ass.
I mean, you mentioned before his kind of way of delivering his awareness. What is it about him that you find so funny?
Lefty turned up. I did the event where I battled Sharon. I told you last time that I was too drunk to be able to come up with bars. I need to be smoking weed. My problem is I need to be smoking weed to come up with the kind of creativity that wins a battle rap. And unfortunately, it's not legal, and I don't like testing the law. So I don't like standing outside of venues smoking weed, stuff like that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if it means we can't go back to venues, then it's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Right. Don't smoke weed outside venues. But it's the better drug Anyway, Lefty turns up to this event and freestyles his way further than I do. So that was my first introduction of Lefty, and then he started sneaking in as kind of Big J's mate. But he's gone on to become, for me, one of the funniest people I can possibly watch in a battle rap. And it is the way he laughs at his own bars.
Right.
Because do you know what? The second he laughs at one of his bars, it takes me, as a viewer, to when he come up with that bar and him finding it funny then. Do you know what I mean? And there's no science behind that. He's not been sitting there coming up with multi-syllabics and perfect creativity. He said to Canel, "You roll cigarettes in a King L." That is a sick bar. That is a bar. Do you know what I mean? That is some funny stuff. You roll cigarettes in a King L. That is funny to me. And then not only does he say that punchline, but he laughs at himself, and that just follows it up with the madness. Brilliant.
And Lefty, of course, with Big J as well. Are you a fan of his more solo stuff? Do you like him in that environment?
Yeah, I mean, Big J's really funny. Again, Big J's an honourable mention.
Yeah.
But for me, there's something within Lefty that makes him funnier than the normal geezer. And I think Big J's got a lot of things going for him, but I think Lefty, for me, Lefty's in my top 5. Let's just put it that way. And look at the people I've not put in my top 5. So for me, Lefty's got something about him that when he drops a punchline, I imagine what he was emotionally going through when he come up with it, and then there's a backstory. Instantly, I've got a backstory in my head. So there's a ton of emotion going on in my head, and I know it sounds ridiculous over comedy, but I take comedy quite seriously.
Yep.
I analyse it, and I'm not just laughing at him; I'm laughing with him because he's laughing as well.
Yeah. Lefty, yeah, okay, not actually in my top 10, but again, an honourable mention personally.
I can understand that.
Big fan of this guy. Now, my number 5. This may seem sycophantic. This may embarrass you. You're my number 5, Pam.
Right, okay, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
You're like characters from fairy tales done for children. You're so short you put the fucking stilts in Rumpelstiltskin. I've got a dope as the flows and I'm so tight. You're the punchline to 7 different jokes I know about Snow White. You've been shit from the get-go. Your skin is visibly yellow. It looks like someone dipped a Tickle Me Elmo into a mixture of egg yolk.
Yeah, no, we didn't discuss this before, no, but I just, for me, it's that juxtaposition of the silliness with the skill. Really, really impressive. And one of the battles, obviously, there's so many battles we can point to that you've been hilarious in. I thought the Harry Baker battle, even recently, was very, very impressive. I thought the way you insulted him was skillful and original. The whole idea of early on, you passed A levels, Pat stay levels, sold that when God made me, broke the mold to keep me rising. When God made you, he sold the mold to Easter Island.
Yeah, but I mean, that built up to a Lisa Riley punchline.
Yeah,
so that's where we're going. Do you know what I mean?
Secret Eating Diary by Lisa Riley. Big up Lisa. That was
Yeah.
that was crazy.
When we did our battle rap resume, I could literally name you 7 battles that I'd rather do just purely out of comedy. Sure. I think I was funnier. I think you look at sort of more bars. Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds really egotistical and big-headed, but I laugh at myself more than I should do, probably.
Right. Yeah. It's so okay. Like, let's go through. Do you have like what are your funniest performances? Do you think?
Right. So I mean, these are sneaky ones. I mean, my Enigma battle. I said something like, "Your mum's a peace-loving hippie, hoping the planet's scenery might improve. She's so happy now she doesn't need to be buying lube. Now she's found a way she can recycle poo." Right. And I sort of pointed up when I said it, and it's like, but then later on I dignified that with something like, if we can make people laugh or any other beautifulness out of something as stupid as poo, then I guess it's my duty to the viewer that I do it to death. I do it the best. I'll do a poo on your chest. And each line worked, and each line got a reaction, and it was like, that's exactly what I'm saying. If I can make the crowd laugh by saying poo in an eventful way, then I'll do that. So, and YTV, my second round versus YTV is another sleeper favourite of mine. I say, "You've got the same body odour as my mate's doggy Rover." Right. And I also say, "The stuff your mother's fanny spews inspires Spanish food." Which, and I say, "That's got nothing on her saggy boobs. They look like microwavable bags of stew." I was working in a restaurant at the time, a pub cafe that sold microwavable bags of stew. Right. And once they'd defrosted, they looked saggy and horrible and plastic. And it's like Holding one of them came up with that line. So I mean, so my stupid stuff is probably my best, but again, it's presenting something in a unique way that makes it funny, in my opinion.
Didn't you say, I don't want to butcher the line, but there's a line that I used to, it's not even like your funniest line, but I always really liked it, against ZT, was it like, "Tickle me Elmo dipped in egg yolk"?
Dipped in a mixture of egg yolk.
Yes, that's right. And
again, egg yolk would come in Carluccio's for the arancini balls. They used to use a brand of sort of pre-mixed egg yolk. So the visual of me dipping these arancini balls in a mixture of egg yolk. Yeah. All of a sudden, Tickle Me Elmo becomes dipped in a mixture of egg yolk, and I mean, he did look kind of yellow. Do you know what I mean? Jaundice. So.
He did. You football bars against Bleak as well. That was a very funny battle.
Yeah. Did I tell you about the Tony D biting scenario?
You didn't, no.
Tony D posted a line that he'd used in his football battle, maybe.
Oh yeah,
saying Emmanuel Petit, and I said, "Tony, I said that," and he said, "Oh shit, did you?" And he sort of acknowledged that he'd heard it, and yeah, so it's always a bonus to have sort of planted a seed in a top gardener's garden.
Yeah, so. hell yeah. So there's our number 5, and Lefty and Pamflit. Again, we might be stepping on toes. We might have already mentioned these. Your number 4.
Let's go with Lunacy.
Yeah, we've covered.
He's my number 4 because of what he's done for the comedic style of battle rap. Punchlines. Do you know what? Punchlines are so difficult to do these days. Do you know what? When I wrote my first album, I put in a couple of I said, what did I say? Something like you split up with your girlfriend just because you both nothing's set in stone just because you got plastered in Paris or something. So, but as far as I'm concerned, that's been said before. As far as I'm concerned, someone said that because plaster of Paris invites a set of stone or set in stone or some kind of variation on that topic. And I think Lunacy these days in his songs does churn out enough punchlines for me to have felt like if I haven't got a true idea of where they've come from, there's the potential that they have come from somewhere. That's the only knock I'll have on Lunacy. But in terms of his battle rap career, he did what he did the best in terms of hype and, you know, positioning himself as a battle rapper.
He really was, you know, he was the kind of pinnacle of that type of writing at that time, wasn't he?
Yes.
Kind of no one had quite done it as good as him to kind of get that reaction. But I know what you mean about Luna as well. I remember there was a line from his song, I'm up in the ante like your unborn cousin. And I was just like, he's clearly worked backwards. I've heard that before.
Yeah. No, but you don't know. Could you tell, where have you heard that before? Tell me exactly right now where you've heard that before.
That's the thing, though. But
yeah,
I agree. But if you get the sense, you more than likely have.
Exactly. And that's why I'll say it again. I went for jokes instead of bars, because if I'm out there saying a variation on a Defeat line, but a different version that someone's never heard of before. I mean, I come up with a line when I was doing when I did the. What was it? You nick berries off of you got stopped by a cop on a Leeds farm stealing plant seeds because you will nick berries off of green grass in a heartbeat. No motherfucker out there has said a green grass, heartbeat, nick berry scheme / punchline. But if that was a more common theme, which more people got, then yes, they would have said it. But because 10 people out of 1,000 are going to get that bar because they were actually living in the period that I lived in and they were aware of Heartbeat, Green Grass and Nick Berry. So basically, the more mainstream you are, the more appealing you are to a mainstream audience, therefore, the more generic you are. It's that simple.
Certainly. So, number 4 for me is Ogmios, as you mentioned before as well, right, which obviously we've already gone over. So now we're getting to the holy trinity of funniest Don't Flop battlers. Number 3 for you.
Yes, just getting my list up here. I know who I've got. I just need to know what order they're in. O'Shea.
O'Shea's also my third pick.
Yes.
I mean, you know, this guy is Don't Flop, isn't he?
Yes, he is, absolutely. An absolute legend, a great man. Mm-hmm. You know, I said earlier that Lunacy versus Shotty Horror was what the fans wanted to see in terms of a comedian versus a barsmith, but if you're looking at popularity within a scene as opposed to popularity out the scene, then O'Shea versus Tony D is its equivalent.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, he's such a, like, he really is kind of someone you can sell the league on. Like, wasn't it Plan B who originally said something about him, and that's kind of what got Don't Flop in Nuts magazine, and, like, you know, he's kind of the missing link between the mainstream and battling.
My third date with my now wife, we were sat watching her sister singing, because her sister's a singer, and it came up on my Facebook newsfeed that I could now look my girlfriend in the eye and say, my mate Stephen O'Shea has just been tweeted by Robbie Williams saying that O'Shea is his hero.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that happened or if I imagined that or if that, but Robbie Williams, the TV singer, Take That and all the bollocks, said that O'Shea is his hero. That is madness. That is next level. See, what I said earlier about Lunacy being the pinnacle, scratch that. Mm-hmm. O'Shea is the man for that alone.
You probably think my style's kinda weak. I mean, I do go for the cheap laughs, like I'll run up in your house wearing a ski mask, put the gun up in your mouth, tell you to ease back, tie your mum up on the couch, teabag. Listen, fuck your weak crap. I'll smash your kneecaps. Lad, you're about as fucking gangster as Cameron Diaz, lad. You're in trouble talking about those constant Liverpool jokes. You got no hope, because Norwich is a great place to come from if you're a goat. And what I'm going to say next, he's not going to agree with, but that's because he's in denial. Your missus has 2 kids to another fella, so yours is basically an I feel guilty child.
And let alone all this other stuff that he's achieved, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, his ubiquity in the scene, the fact that he's kind of always, you know, been himself. But it's funny you mentioned that Robbie Williams thing. I've just Googled that because it was 24th of May 2013 on his website. The title is "I Went All Battle Rapper," and it's just a quick thing here where he says, "Whilst I was laid up in bed, I've been ill, beating a cold. I went all battle rapper. Check below. Funny as fuck. My new hero is O'Shea. The man is magnificent. Sprungy." He quotes. Don't flop.
Really?
Yeah, he just says sprungy, quotation marks. Don't flop all fucking day. Thanks for the entertainment. Random mad love. I want the don't flop sweatshirt, but it says sold out. Robbie Williams. So it's just insane that he would have been aware of this sort of stuff there. Crazy stuff. But of course, O'Shea, he is so funny in himself, but it's just also it's the consistency. It's from Too Easy to My Verse, which is like 7-8 years. He's still hilarious.
Yeah, a few stories that spawned from that. The T-shirt I had the original T-shirt. Are you aware of the original Don't Flop T-shirt?
I'm not. No.
It's come about Blood in the Water 2. It was it come out. It was I can't even remember it now. Right. A few stories. When I battled YTV, who I referenced earlier. I stayed on Chronicles. I arrived in Manchester that night. It was me, Chronicle, and Kruger potentially, staying around Chronicles, and I got so drunk on vodka that I threw up in Chronicles' bedroom,
right,
or his spare bedroom, and I didn't have a T-shirt to wear, so gave me the first. It was 100 printed of this first Don't Flop T-shirt. So give me one of them. So I had that. That's the one I wore against YTV. And then a fan. This is the most bizarre story. Yeah, a fan bought 100 CDs off me. Right.
Jeez. He
was like, I can sell these on my island. He lived in Isle of Wight. Big up to fuck. I remember his name. Honestly, big up to this geezer anyway. He bought 100 CDs from me. I don't mean to say this geezer because I do know his name, but I'm shit with names. But he bought 100 CDs off me, and I was like, right, this geezer's bought 100 CDs off me. I signed them all, I put 2 T-shirts in. One of these was this legendary T-shirt that I wish I'd kept now. Really wish above everything I still had. And sent it off to him to the Isle of Wight. And the Royal Mail gave me a ticket to say that I paid for this, and I was at the time didn't know anything about sort of this kind of sending stuff off type business, so I kind of put it in a pair of trousers that got lost, and he said it never arrived, so I kind of felt bad about that, but I definitely did send it, so I'm not, but and the other thing was my Sprungy performance is quite good. I reckon everyone should check that out because I was quite proud of my Sprungy performance. I didn't have a sleeper by but yeah, O'Shea, sorry to go on.
No.
Do you know what it is as well? I listen to podcasts 24/7, and I sit there listening to your podcast at work every day, thinking, "I wish I could have said that. I wish I could have said this."
Right.
So now I'm getting it all off my chest.
Yeah, no. Please. We just literally note down stuff that you think about during the day that you feel people need to know, and it'd be great just to have you on and just let you just go because just
delete all the stuff that's shit. Do you know what I mean?
No. So yeah, I mean, we both tied there for number 3 with O'Shea, of course. Number 2 for you.
I've got 2 left, and I can. So my second. Whoo! This is the serious business now, isn't it?
Yeah.
My second is Kruger.
Well, yeah. I mean, gotta be. I mean, I respect him being that high. Like, definitely the guy. I think bar for bar has some of the funniest stuff ever put out there in battle rap. And I think it's interesting. Obviously, you are the kind of seasoned vet, and I'm kind of a newer fan, really. So my top 2 are probably going to be more suggestive of my timeline in battle rap. Number 2 for me is Shuffle T.
Being a vegan is shit, mate. I know because I was one for 9 months. But now I'm a vegetarian, I remember the pleasures of a light lunch. Eggs, cheese. Eggs, cheese, yes please. Fry-ups? Weatherspoons is one with a fake sausage, which is a nice touch. If you're going to be vegan, keep it to yourself like Fight Club. Don't bend over backwards like a high jump to make sure everyone knows you're a right cunt.
I felt bad about not including him in my top 10, and he'd be one of the ones outside. But what I'm trying to do in my opinion spreading in the modern fan is share what I went through 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Sure. And so Shuffle T is huge now, but if I sat here and spread the word of Shuffle T, it would be unnecessary. We all know how great he is, and I've got no problem admitting that. I mean, I've heard you mention a few times when I battled him, and I know you'd love the footage that I said about the Don't Flop being the
cargo,
cargo doesn't need Marlow and Shuffle T, whatever. Fast over troubled C's, but multi-syllabics kind of second nature to me. But the one I was most proud of was how are you gonna? So it's something that you fancy me. How am I supposed to pass you the torch when you're already holding one for me, or something like that? And I was more proud of that because it was like I was kind of doing the whole multi-syllabic thing, and then I felt he came as I left and filled my slot, but did it in a much better manner than I ever could, and that made me kind of feel like bad.
Right.
But he has transcended anything I could have ever achieved. I mean, he's got... Because I was getting a bit of sort of attention from the American market, Dirtbag Dan, Lush One, and they still sort of pay me my dues, but he took that ball and just sped off with it, and I couldn't even see him by the end of it. Shuffle T for me, Shuffle T and Marlow. Marlow is an amazing sidekick to Shuffle T, but I think Shuffle T is the main guy out of that twosome. But Marlow is. If I could say Marlow and Shuffle T together, they could potentially be number one. But obviously, this is an individual list.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say about Shuffle, really? He's definitely got the snarkier side of the two. The command of multis in of itself is just hilarious, just to witness the technique. I
think he's more skillful than Marlow.
Yeah, I do think he's more skillful than Marlow. He can be a bit colder than Marlow at times.
But that's part of the skill.
Yeah, of course.
You can't work on a singular basis. I'm not saying Marlow does. He's got multi-facets, but Shuffle T brings a couple more strings to his bow.
And, I think out of all of the people we've listed so far, Shuffle's probably the best at, incredible, very important comedic concept, the concept round. The phone against Raptor, the sort of the conversation with the person against Heretic, stuff like this, these sort of ideas. He manipulates it so well, and he can go toe to toe with a lot of different people. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about the Quest and Marv stuff, and then he'll face Yunnan, he'll face someone similar in Heretic or Carter. He's a lot of multifacets to his style.
Do you know what? God bless you, Shuffle, because I do love you. We spat each other our bars for the pizza battle. We did a pizza. We were supposed to do a pizza battle. Yeah, it never happened because the event was dominated by a garage set by Luck and Neat that happened right next to where we were supposed to perform, and it just didn't seem feasible to do a battle there. Do you know what? There was a period where me and Shuffle were sitting outside of VIP in that sort of festival. It might have been me and Shuffle anyway. We were waiting to get in, and it was like, hang on a minute, this is me and Shuffle T, and yet we can't get into the VIP section. Right. And there's Jonathan, who's MC Lux, Rhodey's best friend's cousin. Do you know what I mean? Sort of hanging about, and we're supposed to be performing here, and we can't get in. It sorted itself out in the end, but yeah. So we spat each other our bars anyway for the sake of it. And I noticed that Shuffle has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 combo that continues. It's like by the time he got to the third multi in each bar, I knew what the fourth multi was going to be. Mm-hmm. And again, that's coming from someone who writes bars in themselves. But I think I sort of flicked it about a bit, and that's kind of why I'd maybe rate Marlow on a similar scale to Shuffle T, in that I think Marlow has a few more different variations in the way that he presents his punchline. I think Shuffle T's a little more formulaic, but the times that I've seen Shuffle T hit it out the ballpark has been more impressive than Marlowe. And again, 90% of the other battle rappers out there, but my top 10 is based on who I've seen live and who I've buzzed off of in the venue. So yeah, so Shuffle T and Marlowe as a twosome, as I say, could potentially take that top spot for me. But should I announce my number one then?
Please.
Yeah. So Tenchu.
So don't try to stress yourself about how you came from a ghetto hell when no one here needs specs to tell that your mother's always fed you up. Yo, I can already tell he ain't gangster, man. My man's psychic. He thinks he's like-minded to a crime hybrid because he plays Time Crisis and holds the 9 like this. Bitch, why try it? You're living a lie. Your figure is a ridiculous size. Every time this idiot cries, chicken grease drips from his eyes.
Tenchu, yes. Who's your number one?
My number one is Marlowe.
Woo!
Yeah, I
wasn't expecting that.
No, I was...
On the way back to my Ford, we were famished, so we stopped at a nice little convenience store for a sandwich and ended up having a talk with the manager about this glorious parish and the fact that he was more than ecstatic that since 2004 when established, his store had never been forcibly damaged and not so much as a morsel of cabbage had been torn from his packet or unlawfully scavenged. I mean, I may well be hauling from Hampshire, which is more than your average tourist attraction. But in that music video of yours, it was like you were almost embarrassed to be born and then pampered in this awesome and lavish corner of the planet.
I thought the closer we got to not having Tenchu on your list, I thought Tenchu is going to be both our number ones. But wow,
I appreciate a lot of people would be surprised at this. There is something about the manic energy of Marlowe that I find absolutely hilarious. People are going to be surprised at this. My all-time funniest Stone Flop moment is in the 2-on-2 against Dialect and Zen, where they do the "you brought your goons with you," and they play on that grime backing, roadman stereotype so well. And just like there's something about Marlowe's face, like Marlowe and Shuffle, you do get that sort of drama school, feel from them. But I think in Marlowe, in Marlowe, there's just a bit more like going on, like with him, like I think, and obviously everything Shuffle do, Marlowe can do as well. I think Shuffle is more technical, Shuffle's more capable as a solo performer, but there's just the exasperation of Marlowe that I just find inexhaustible, really. I find it so entertaining. But I mean, Tenchu, line for line, I completely understand why you put him as number one.
Can I just say, Marlowe and Shuffle T remind me of Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer, right?
Yeah.
In that Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer are my favourite comedians ever. And I'd almost say that Bob Mortimer was my favourite of the two. Mm. But Bob Mortimer isn't my favourite comedian. Mm-hmm. Vic Reeves isn't my favourite comedian, but Vic Reeves is the leader of Reeves and Mortimer. Sure. So Bob Mortimer above Vic Reeves above Bob Mortimer, and the pair of them above everyone, but neither of them above a single guy who I'd put as top, which is what I've done in Tenchu. So together they are a complete package, and I think Shuffle T is the leader, but I think Marlowe's more funny. And same with Reeves and Mortimer. Vic Reeves is the leader, but Bob Mortimer as a person is more funny. Together they are brilliant, but individually they are not the best, in my opinion.
No, I agree. But I mean, talk to me about Tenchu. I mean, why number one for you?
Because he is as close to perfect as a battle rapper can get. Canada's got Pat Stay, America's got Disaster, we've got Tenchu. They're tall, all of them are tall, all of them are imposing, all of them are sarcastic, all of them are funny, all of them are brutal. They've got every single aspect a top battle rapper needs. And they represent the three biggest countries. You could put 360 in the Australian category, but Tenchu has an imposing nature about him. When you meet him, I was lucky enough the 2-on-2 that I won with Chronicle to go back to Chronicle's house afterwards and hang out with Tenchu, and he's got a rebuttal for everything. He's so witty, he's so funny. He's got a style that's unique to himself, and his bars really do hold up. I mean, I'm not talking about the copyright performance, but before that, let me get up, because I wrote. Do you know what as well? The reason I picked Tenchu number one, and not the reason, but the reason, is because when I was writing down people's bars, he had 2 and everyone else had 1.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can get this out. So it was 2 in a row as well, which is, I think, is a good technique to go for. If you've got 2 hot bars, you want to put them both in a row, because it means that people are just getting over that one amazing thing and then another one amazing, and that's what wins you around. So he's got I can already tell he ain't gangster, man. My mind's psychic. He thinks he's like he thinks he's like-minded to a crime hybrid because he plays Time Crisis and holds the 9 like this.
Yeah.
Yes. And he thinks he's like-minded to a crime hybrid. Crime hybrid isn't a necessary multi in that little bit, but because the punchline pays off so well, he irons it out and it doesn't matter. And then it was "You're living a lie. Your figure is a ridiculous size. When he cries, chicken grease drips from his eyes."
Yeah.
It's perfect. It is perfect. Why can't I write stuff like that, man?
Yeah.
Why can't I say when a fat geezer cries, chicken grease drips from his eyes? Why can't I do that? Because Tenchu's already done it. He's already walked. When you're walking in a field, and there's sort of long hay everywhere, and there's already a path that's been marked out for you, and you're following that path, it's because Tenchu's already walked down there and insulted each and every one of those bits of hay and made them fall over in embarrassment.
I think
he has trod the path.
He is. That whole canon battle is crazy.
Yes.
It's so rich. You chat so much breeze. The reason that Chicago is known as the Windy City.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. And yeah, I mean, so good. And he's talking about the sort of population, isn't he? And he counts as 1,000 people. I can't quite remember that bar, but
and so some Sherman Clump bar as well. And,
yeah.
And also. And as well, the earlier stuff as well. I mean, the Salah battle, he absolutely murdered Salah. And when you watch it back now, you're thinking, "Oh, Salah's a respected geezer at this point," and Tenchu just makes him. Do you know what I mean? Murders it, like makes him look like whoa. Like there's no point in being in a crew when all of the people in it sound exactly like you, or some variation on that, but. Just next level. Tenchu is my number one funny battle rapper, and I'd say he was probably number one freestyle battle rapper as well, and I'd probably say he's number 7 or 6 in creativeness as well. So he tops the bill in a few different categories for me.
Certainly, and I think it's kind of poetic in a sense that if we're going through and assigning points here, because O'Shea is both of our third pick. Right. O'Shea would go down as our funniest battler.
I was going to say to you, if you want to sort of after we've done this, or if you want to take 10 minutes now and tot the points up, do you need to go back and check who's who?
No, I've got the list here, but I'm just looking at, and as O'Shea's the top one that we both placed together.
The top 10 though. I'm saying do the top 10, right? Assigning number 10 as 1. And obviously, if they're not on each other's list, so Shuffle and Marlowe got none from me, but then Tenchu gets none from you. So do it that way and see who the top 10 is officially.
There is. Okay, I will. I'll do that quickly now, and just top that up now. That won't be a moment.
Dum 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 dum. Oh no, it's the winner is Pete Cashmore.
Shout out Pete Cashmore, yeah, of course. The venerable. Actually, this is quite hard to do on the fly, so I will have to, I'll put this back in there, and we'll do our
at the end.
Yeah, we'll do our definitive top 10. But I guess just to wrap up, who haven't we mentioned? Who are some honourable mentions? Funny battlers that maybe didn't make the cut.
I mean, I've missed a few, but so I've mentioned a few as I've gone along. But Big J is funny. Archaic, I found funny.
Yeah, Archaic is funny. I agree. Yeah.
Jay Dillon, really funny.
Yeah.
Harry Baker, really funny.
Of course.
Yeah.
Soul?
Do you know what? Soul has...
Not obviously, but...
Soul's sense of humour has come on leaps and bounds, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
From where he was to where he is. Mozprob.
Yeah, of course.
Mozprob is funny, but Mozprob isn't as funny... Mozprob hasn't been as funny as he has been clever, and for that he will be marked in my head as a clever battle rapper as opposed to a funny battle rapper.
I think that's fair. Mickey?
Mickey's hilarious, but Mickey hasn't had those moments that Pedro has in terms of the mum's got the tattoo of the Umbro sign.
Yeah.
Set them apart. Guys from America, from Canada in America, Kid Twist. The Source made me laugh.
Yeah.
The Source versus Nestle is one of my favourite battles of all time. Really good.
That's such a good battle. That's a brilliant battle.
I want to do the next one on King of the Dot battle. Not King of the Dot battles, Grind Time battles. Have you done a Grind Time battle yet?
We haven't, and my knowledge isn't that extensive, so I think that'd be really fun to do. Actually, to go back and watch those, that'd be really good.
Yeah, I could really relive the moments in time that I was sat there watching some of the Grind Time punchlines and really buzzing off of it. And everything was so fresh as well. Comedy's been done to death now, and that's why Shuffle T and Marlo aren't in my top 10, because I am referring to my past of a battle rap fan. And again, it's when I was a fan more than a sort of old head who's sort of looking back on it with grey hair and pondering. But in terms of ambassadors in the modern era, Marlo and Shuffle T are a rightful 1 and 2. But for me, they'd be 1 and 2 together as one.
Yeah. A Definition, another one we sort of forgot there.
Definition's brilliant. My problem with Definition is I live about 20 minutes away from him. We're both in serious relationships, and yet we haven't done anything together. So he's going through what we went through 2 years ago, and in 2 years' time, I'm sure we'll have some lovely dinner parties together. At the moment,
Double L. I'm just trying to think of some more off the top of my head.
Double L's brilliant. Double L's really funny. Who else is funny? Eddie P.
Eddie P and Frisco, yeah.
Eddie P and Frisco, brilliant. Bowski's a really funny battle rapper. Yeah. Bowski got forgotten because he sort of got knocked out of the way in that whole Mickey Worthless thing. I mean, I remember do you know what? When I battled Bowski, I did an impression of him that was like, I was shit in that, wasn't I? But I'll try much harder next time. And laughed at that, because Bowski, at the end of every battle that he did, was like, I was shit in that, but I'm going to try much harder next time. And it's kind of like, then like he'd go back to his work that we all do and, not have the sort of 100 hours to put into a top-class performance that one of the best put in. But because Bowski had the personality and the sense of humour to get through it, he kind of rided on that. But, I'd say Bowski would be in my top 15.
Yeah.
Eddie P and Frisco again as one.
Yeah. Well, this obviously we'll do the sort of definitive rankings.
Evil Eyes.
Okay.
Evil Eyes. Yes. Sorry.
Didn't he do loads of gay jokes against you, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yes. Because we were both privately on the inbox. Wouldn't it be great if we battled each other? Oh, yeah, we'll have such a funny battle. We'll call each other gay and it'll be great. And I was like, I was in a mind space where I didn't want to battle anymore. And I was like, fuck this. I'm going to call him out for calling me gay and sort of write really serious bars and accuse him of being silly. So he turned up expecting us both to be silly at each other. And then I backfired it on him and double-crossed him and called him out on being silly. So, I feel bad about that. But Evil Eyes for me was again one of the comedians that got me into the comedy style of battle rap.
Well, Pam, this has been great. You know, it really is a treat to have you on, and we'll be doing the Grind Time episode soon as well. Obviously, if you're listening to this will come out, you know, just before the Don't Tell the Bride. I'm so excited for this, by the way, to watch
Impact
you guys.
is my best man.
No way!
Yeah, Impact is my best man. Balski, come to my wedding, yeah? I can't say too much about stuff, but let's just say that if people who were making that program made it difficult for me, it looked like Impact had made it difficult for me. So this is my excuse for Impact. We can't talk about too much, but if I had to have a go at anyone, it would have been Impact as opposed to the people that were making the decisions behind the scenes. And again, we're gonna have to. You might have to edit this but Impact was. I couldn't have picked a better best man than Impact. Let's put it that way. And Bowski was at my stag do as well, which wasn't as bad as it looked because we ended up having fun.
Okay.
Do you know what? Yeah, we were. Do you know what? Right, I don't even know if I can say the full story. But we went to Scotland for my stag do. Yeah, me, Bowski, my cousin, and my brother-in-law, who's going out with my wife's sister, went to Scotland, right? And we passed Fife, and I was like, Bowski. I was like, because they took my phone off me. I don't know if I can say this even. I mean, I might have to get this all seen to, but they took my phone off me, and I told Bowski to inbox Soul and say we're in Fife. Do you want to meet up? So 1 o'clock in the morning comes, and we get an inbox from Soul. Oh, I'm watching the fight. It was some Colin McGregor fight going on. Do you all want to come back to mine? So anyway, I'm tired and go to bed early, and my brother-in-law and cousin at 4 o'clock in the morning are round Soul's house, who's the champion at the time, watching a UFC fight. So that's just the kind of crazy stuff that goes on in battle rapping. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, again, I want to urge people listening to this. Obviously, seek out that episode. They normally get thrown on YouTube pretty much afterwards. The national broadcast. So I'm sure
it'll be on their catch up. It's on E4 at 9 o'clock on fucking August the 9th, guys. Hey, come on! If you can't watch that,
no, we'll.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna retweet the fuck out of that definitely because
basically it's gonna get like 10 million views as opposed to like my best battle rap that's got 4,500,000 views. So let's put it up. Yeah.
Well, Pamflit, as ever, it's been a joy to have you on, man. Thank you so much for joining me, bro.
Yes, brother, and I'll see you again soon. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and God bless battle rap, and let's get Don't Flop back under the right fucking environment and push it forward again, man. Come on, guys.